Good evening, everyone. This is Bill Breeden. Welcome to my Constellation Tour, number 32. Tonight we're going to talk about Taurus the Bull. We've got Stellarium set up here for December the 10th, 2020 at 8:16 p.m. as Taurus is a winter constellation, best viewed between December and February. We also have Stellarium set up for a suburban sky with moderate light pollution. Taurus the Bull is a constellation along the ecliptic, located in the northern celestial hemisphere. And I can show you the ecliptic here. Let's see. So that yellow line that you see, that's the path that the sun follows over the course of a year across the sky. And the constellations along the ecliptic are the traditional zodiac constellations, and they include Taurus the Bull. So I'll go ahead and turn on the constellation boundaries. And you can see here that the sun, the ecliptic here passes through Taurus. It enters Taurus on May 14th and exits Taurus and enters Gemini each year on June 21st. So, how do we go about finding Taurus in the sky? So you want to go out in the winter months, December, January, February, maybe a month or two before or after, depending on the time of night. If you go out before December, you may have to wait a few hours for it to rise. And if you go out after February, you may want to go out earlier and catch it before it sets. So to find Taurus, the easiest way is to find Orion, the hunter. And Orion is obvious by the 3 stars of his belt. And if you simply follow those 3 stars generally upward, the first bright star you bump into is Aldebaran. And Aldebaran is also known as Alpha Tauri. So that points you in the direction of Taurus the Bull. That's probably the easiest way to find it. Another thing you can look for is the Pleiades cluster, and they look like a teeny tiny little dipper in the sky. They are also located within the boundaries of Taurus the Bull. Aldebaran marks one of the stars of the winter hexagon. So as we have the software set up for mid-December, the hexagon should be visible. So let's take a look at that. So we have Aldebaran here. We have Capella here. We have Castor here. Pollux here. Procyon here. And Rigel here. So those stars form what we call the winter hexagon. And that's, as you can see, the winter hexagon in mid-December is due east. So with this being very late fall, almost winter, the whole winter hexagon is in the process of rising. So since we're talking about Taurus tonight, let's go ahead and move our telescope toward Taurus. And we'll turn on our constellation lines. And you can see this bright star here is Aldebaran, and then you have this V shape here, and another line extending toward the Pleiades. So this is the typical way you'll see Taurus depicted on a star chart. Now, if you want to see the mythical figures, Taurus is depicted, only the front half of Taurus, the bull, is depicted. You have these two stars here that depict the tips of his horns, and you have this one bright star, Aldebaran, is his evil eye. So the bull is angry, it has a red eye. The Pleiades are here in the body here, and then you have a few stars that denote the feet here. So that's how Taurus the Bull is depicted in the sky. So there are several double stars in Taurus. I'm going to highlight two of them tonight. The first one is Theta Tauri. And let's have a look with our go-to here. And let's look at Theta through our finder scope. And you can see that Theta is right in the midst of this V shape here. And that is also known as the Hyades, this whole cluster of stars. And Theta Tauri is one of the members of that cluster. And you can see even through the finder scope here with about a 6-degree field that this splits really nicely. You have Theta 1 and you have Theta 2. And let's see, that looks like they're listed here at about magnitude 3, with Theta 2 being 156 light years away and Theta 1 being 154 light years away. So it's very possible that they are a true double and that they are in orbit around each other. So let's have a look at them through a low power eyepiece. And with the 24mm panoptic eyepiece, they really do look nice. It looks like Theta 1 has a slightly gold color to it, whereas Theta 2 is more of a bluish white. Okay, I have another double star here in Taurus, and that's Lambda Atari. And that one, it looks like the V shape of the Hyades points right to Lambda. So that makes a really nice star hop trick. Lambda is magnitude 3, and it looks like being a variable, it actually drops down to about 4th magnitude. It's 483 light years from Earth. And through the finder, it doesn't seem to split. And through a 24mm eyepiece, I see a small companion here. I'm not sure that's the double. Let's see, we'll put a little more power on it. Let's put a 9mm eyepiece in. And it's very possible that this is actually the double. Let's see, it doesn't say. No, it doesn't appear to be, because it would label it as Lambda 1 and Lambda 2. So this one here must be the double. Let's try to split it manually. No, Stellarium's not splitting that one. So it's listed as an eclipsing binary, which means that from our line of sight here on Earth, the double star, the two components are in orbit around each other, and one will pass directly in front of the other as viewed from Earth. So that's what can cause the dimming effect, is when the dimmer star is blocking out the light from the brighter one behind it. Okay, let's have another review of here of how to find Taurus. You're looking generally east in the winter months, or at least in the early winter or late fall. You want to find Orion. and follow Orion's belt up to Aldebaran, and then you'll see this V shape here, that's the Hyades, and you'll see the Pleiades up here. So this whole area is Taurus. And you can see here, I'm showing the constellation boundaries. You can see here that Taurus does border on Orion, and it also borders on Aries and Gemini, because as I said earlier, the ecliptic passes through Taurus, making it a constellation of the zodiac. So, there are a few deep sky objects within the boundaries of Taurus, including 2 Messier objects. So let's make it dark. Let's go to a dark site. And even naked eye, the Hyades here surrounding the area where Aldebaran is just striking. I mean, that would look great in binoculars. Let's give that a look. Here's about the view, a 6-degree field of view in binoculars. That's spectacular. If you just enjoy observing beautiful areas of the sky, this part of Taurus should not be missed. Okay, let's have a look for the first object on Charles Messier's list of deep sky objects, and that's M1, the Crab Nebula. Now, for anyone that's new to astronomy and has just discovered Charles Messier's list of deep sky objects, it's tempting to start with M1 because it's number 1 on the list. Probably not a good idea. You want to observe them in sequence by season rather than by the way Charles Messier numbered them originally. And M1 actually is difficult. It's one of the more difficult and challenging objects to observe. So let's simulate it with Stellarium. So let's point our scope to M1. And naked eye is not visible, so let's have a look through the finder. And here, the software is showing M1 as a magnitude 8.4 with a surface brightness of 11.9. I can tell you that's probably more accurate. You're looking for a very faint object, which is why a lot of beginning amateur astronomers actually can't find M1. So imagine you're starting with your Messier list, you're going to do them in order, you start with M1 and you fail right away because you can't see it. It's a little disappointing. So it's not your fault, it's a difficult object. So through a high power eyepiece, a 9mm Delight, Stellarium is showing it as a fuzzy patch, although it is showing it brighter than I've ever seen it through my telescope. And I have an 8-inch Schmidt-Cassegrain. M1 is also the only object on Messier's list that is a supernova remnant. So there's M1 through a 24mm panoptic. This is a little bit more accurate representation of what you might see from a very, very dark site. Okay, let's have a look at another deep sky object that you don't even need a telescope to see, and that's the Pleiades. The Pleiades are this little tiny scrunched up dipper that you see in the sky near Aldebaran, and it too is within the boundaries of Taurus the Bull. And many people thought this was the Little Dipper at one point in their lives. I know I did. The actual Little Dipper is big. I mean, it's half the size of the Big Dipper. So this is a dipper shape, but it's not a Little Dipper, it's the Pleiades. So your best bet is to observe the Pleiades through binoculars or through your finder scope. Because with a 6-degree field of view, you really get to see what the Pleiades look like. This is an open cluster. And the Pleiades gives you an idea of what a lot of the open clusters that are up in the sky would look like if they were closer to us. This one is 380 light years away. So imagine all the open clusters that you've seen with a medium power eyepiece or even a high power eyepiece that are 4, 5, 6,000 light years away. Bring them closer to Earth, like this one, 380 light years. The Pleiades gives you an idea of what an open cluster would look like if it was closer to us. So just for fun, let's look at it through a wide-angle eyepiece, and Stellarium is simulating it pretty nicely. You can't see all of it. It's just too big. So you're only going to see a few of the members of the Pleiades. And if you're at a dark enough location, you will see this blue haze around each of these stars. And the one I've chosen here to focus on is Merope. I believe that's the brightest of the Pleiades. And that one has a bright enough haze around it, or its nebulosity, to see. So that's worth looking for. Let's see, here's another bright member of the Pleiades, Maya. And that one has a nice haze around it too. A few nights, I actually thought my eyepiece was fogging over a little, and it turned out to be the nebulosity that you can see in the Pleiades. Okay, let's go back to a naked eye view. And the last object on my list is not a Messier object. It is a deep sky object, and that's the Hyades. And that's this area right here in Taurus, this V shape with all of these stars. That's an open cluster also. And let's go ahead and let the program find it, because it should give us some detail about it. If it's in here at all. It's not in here. It's not in here. Nope. Okay, I guess we can't get any information about it from Stellarium. So let's just select one of the members here. And let's see, this is one of the double stars we looked at earlier, Theta Tauri. And it's within the Hyades. And it's only 156 light years away, so it's less than half the distance of the Pleiades even. So this really gives you an idea of what an open cluster looks like, moved even closer to Earth. Okay, folks, well, this concludes my tour of Taurus the Bull. Good night and good seeing.